You can see she's pumping smoke just beautiful.
It's alive! It's alive! It's alive! It's alive!
Well, ladies and gentlemen, maybe a tabletop smoker isn't quite at the same level as Frankenstein's monster, but this is my third attempt, and this time it worked. So I'm going to show you quickly how I built this little mini smoke generator, and then we're going to smoke some cheese and some meat, and we'll do a taste test and see how the results compare to the big smoker. So this is the basic unit, the smoke generator that we created that actually works. And as a bonus, after 30 minutes, it doesn't melt. So I'm going to show you how I constructed this, but I wanted to start out with the full unit. This is the unit after we actually used it to smoke some cheese and meat. I just cleaned out all of the creosote, although I will show you some pictures where it was still in there, just to show you how bad that can get after just 2 hours. But if you look on the inside, you'll see that it's just a brass tube with a hole drilled right here. And this tube came already right out of Lowe's or Home Depot or your basic hardware store. It's 8 inches long, so I believe it's a 1/2 inch, and it's already threaded. So you put a hole there, and then this part here, this is the venturi. So we drilled a hole kind of sideways. That fits in there like that. And that provides our venturi. So the air goes in there, causes a vacuum in the back, and that causes a draw. So we look at the rest of the unit, you'll see this tea keeper. Of course, it has this additional top, which I drilled 4 holes in. This is actually a pretty much airtight in order to keep, loose tea leaves. And you can see I still have some wood chips in there. They're partially expanded from the heat. So that fits in there. And then this fits securely on top. Pretty good seal. And then when the air is being pumped into the venturi here, it causes the vacuum. So let's draw that out. If this is the side view of our tea keeper container. We got our hole here. That hole, this hole right here, that's where we light the wood from the bottom, and the thing is filled with our wood chips. It can be any kind. I was using pellets. I actually used pellets from a pellet smoker just because they fit in there real nice. But you could use small wood chips as well. And so you got that tight fitting top with a little handle on it with the 4 holes drilled in. And so our wood sits in here. We got our torch here to torch it up. This is just a flambe torch or whatever for making flan and desserts, or I suppose if you probably could use it for some other things, but at any rate, that's what that is. All right, so let's concentrate a little bit more on the top itself, because that's where the actual venturi is. So this is a side view of the top, this part right here. Stuff leaking out. And so we got our pipe that goes through it. We got a little cap on that side. The nice thing about that is if it gets filled with creosote, you can run a brush through it. And of course we got the hole drilled into the side of the pipe right there. And that's going to cause a vacuum to draw the smoke up into the pipe and out. Now, you may recall from a previous video where we talked about how the big smoker works. It has the same principle. So we got the pipe that goes in at an angle, like that. Whoops, that's not drawn very well. And of course we got a rubber hose will go on the end of that. And so the air is going to come out of here and go in that direction, causing a vacuum. in this part of the pipe. And that vacuum is going to draw the air up from inside the canister. So this is the top, and it's sitting on top of the rest of the canister. And so that smoke's just going to go up through the holes that we drilled in that secondary top, I guess you might call it, and pull it into the hose and out. And so that is the physics, if you will, of how this smoke generator works. And because it's all stainless steel and brass, there is no danger of getting any kind of heavy metals or anything like that into your smoke. And there's no danger of plastic. There's no plastic at all anywhere in this. Your smoke's gonna come right out the end. As I mentioned before, I started out using this stainless steel tea keeper. I'll leave the links in the description. This container is designed to keep your loose leaf tea fresh for a long time. It's fairly airtight. I also use this old aquarium air pump I had lying around, and these thin brass tubes I got from my hobby store. The rest of the brass parts I got from my hardware store. I'm marking and using the punch to get all the holes started for my drill press. I'll also be creating a little jig in order to keep the tea keeper from rolling around. So I just glued this up with some scrap wood I had lying around. And that'll make it a lot easier to drill that hole in the side for where we start the wood. Yeah, I'll put it on the drill press and get these holes drilled out. I start with a smaller drill and then move up to larger and larger size until I get the size that I'm looking for. And for the top, I had to use a special kind of drill to get the hole large enough to put the 1/2 inch brass tube with our venturi all the way straight through. I used the punch again to indent the main tube for the 2 holes we have to drill in that. Now the hole for the venturi, that one was a little tricky. So first I drilled straight in, as you can see here. And then I had to put it on the vise at an angle and kind of try to drill in here. And I would highly recommend you wear eye protection during this, especially this operation, because you can snap a drill bit off pretty easy trying to drill at an angle like that. Once I had that hole drilled, I then took a piece of the thin brass tubing and just used a hacksaw and eyeballed and cut off the end of it so that it's at an angle. And then I put that on the sander to clean up the edges real good, and that's it. We want that angle to go like that so that the venturi gases go out like that. And as you can see, I don't know if you can see that in the port there. You can see the tube is pointed out. What that's going to do is the air is going to come down like this, out, creating a vacuum in this back part. All right, let's get this unit put together and get it tested. Then we can start smoking some meats and cheese. Let me put something dark behind it so you can see it a little better. Use that. You can see she's pumping smoke just beautiful.
You can go online and get this great shirt. You can fascinate a woman with a piece of cheese and other great shirts that I'm selling, such as, if you're gonna cut the cheese, just make sure it's Smoky Dave's. I just wanted to say I appreciate each and every one of you, and if you're new to the channel, please think about subscribing, hitting the notification bell, and leaving a comment down below. I read every comment. And until next time, don't forget, it's no joke, everything's better with smoke.
Okay, so here is our 3 test
controls for our tabletop mini smoker. And so what we're going to do is we're going to smoke half of this, one of these tubes of mozzarella, and half of this beef or beef jerky. And we're going to put half of it in the big cold smoker that we know works, and we're going to put the other half in our mini tabletop. And the proof is in the pudding. Now I placed a bag of ice in the bottom of our styrofoam smoking box just like I did before. And then I lit the new generator. But notice the generator's output goes through a long plastic tube, just like we did before. There's only one problem with that. This aerator, the aquarium aerator, just didn't have enough oomph to push that smoke through that tube as well. So what I ended up doing was just putting the entire generator inside the styrofoam box because it just didn't have enough pressure. Now I could have used a larger aquarium pump. I do have one, but I really wanted to see how well it would work with just a standard off-the-shelf $15 pump. And here's an example of one of those more powerful pumps that you can purchase online. I'll leave links to these, but really this is a lot more than should be needed for a little tabletop smoker. This is the one I use in my full-size smoker. Okay, so here are the cheeses, and I wanted you to notice the slight darker color of the cheeses that were done in the tabletop smoker. And the reason, of course, is because we had the generator right inside. There's going to be just a bit more creosote, and that tends to darken the colors. However, being a small smoke generator, it didn't create too much. I think these are going to taste pretty good. And of course, the beef jerky I don't show here, but it's being marinated, and we'll test them all together. Well, ladies and gentlemen, this is the taste test. Over here, we have some beef jerky, some cheddar, extra sharp cheddar smoked, and some mozzarella that were all done in the tiny tabletop smoker. We have the same exact 3 items here that were done in the large smoker that we usually use. As you can see, I've got the items that were smoked. Everything has aged for 7 days. And of course, the beef jerky was marinated and dehydrated just as we did in the original beef jerky video. Again, we have our extra sharp cheddar cheese, our mozzarella, and of course the beef jerky, and the extra sharp cheddar cheese, mozzarella, beef jerky from the large smoker. So large smoker, small smoker. And I'm going to try each of these and compare once against the other, then use something to clean my palate, and then taste each of the items. Alright, I'm going to start the test with a soft cheese first. So we'll start with the small smoker mozzarella. Take a bite of that. Smells good. Taste is on point. It's got some good smoke on it. There might be the slightest bit of bitterness on the outside edge, but nothing too terrible. So that's test 1. All right, let's try the regular smoker, the big one. Smoke is quite smooth, no bitterness. Slight amount of bitterness here, but not enough that you'd really notice. And certainly if we had put the smoker on the outside and maybe had a little bit better airflow, we would have gotten out the rest of that bitterness from the creosote on the outside surface. All right, let's do the same thing with the cheddar. Both of these are the outside piece. I wanted to make sure if there was bitterness, I wanted to know. That's good. So little smoker's extra sharp cheddar. Don't really notice the bitterness. That's probably because it is extra sharp. Very creamy. That's one of the things when you smoke when you smoke something like a hard cheddar cheese, it tends to get a lot more creamier. That's good. I probably wouldn't know the difference between that and the big smoker. I'm pretty sure they're going to taste exactly the same. Let's give it a shot. Yep. Yeah, I probably couldn't tell these two apart if you were to put them in front of me. Absolutely delicious, creamy. The smoke flavor is just perfect there. Yeah, I did not notice a more bitterness in this one like I did with the mozzarella, but again, it's extremely low amount of bitterness. It's just a little bit there. In fact, some people might actually like it that way. All right, let's do the beef jerky. And because these are marinated, I'm going to guess that probably you won't be able to tell the difference. Nice chewy piece. Of course, the smoke is a little more subtle in the beef jerky because of the marinade, but it's definitely there. So the smoke definitely penetrated into the beef. It's exactly what we want. Let me cleanse the palate one more time. Let me try a piece of this. To be honest, I think I can taste the smoke a little bit better in the tabletop. And the reason is because it was more concentrated in there. Normally when I do beef jerky in the big smoker, I do it for 3 hours, but I wanted to do a control. Everything was 2 hours. 2 hours in the little, 2 hours in the big. That beef jerky has a little more smoke in it. I'm definitely going to say that the tabletop smoker is a complete success. Yes, there are a few more things we can do to improve it, but it's alive!
Well, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you enjoyed that video. And if you did, consider hitting that like button and maybe leaving a comment. And if you're new to the channel, possibly subscribing. We appreciate it. And of course, I read every comment. And if you have a question, if I don't know the answer, I'll find it. But anyway, if you're considering building one of these little guys, I highly recommend it. I'll leave links to the tea saver where you can get that. And of course, the brass I got at a hardware store, plumbing supply, anywhere like that. And like I said, the little tiny brass tube came from a hobby supply store like Hobby Lobby or Michael's or something like that. Anyway, don't forget, it's no joke. Everything's better with smoke.